Perez Hilton is a selfish piece of shit for doing what he did. He traumatized how many people yesterday? How many people unknowingly got subjected to something that they're never going to unsee? I haven't watched it, but the people who have watched it have said that, no, really, don't watch it. It's gruesome, it's wicked, it's devil shit. Don't watch it. And you know that your brain needs time to process something before you realize what the fuck you're watching and you can make the choice to swipe away, right? All right? What he did was very intentional. He could have posted a video if he wanted to post a video. If he wanted to just do the thing, he could have just done the thing, right? But he needed an audience. And it had to be live.
This tiny piece of fabric here has no pockets. It doesn't care how many followers you have, how much money you made, how much empires you have, or how many people you hurt on your way to the top. As a nurse, I see people hit rock bottoms every single day. And this week, the internet's most infamous bully found himself in this exact uniform. Today, we are bridging pop culture and medicine to look at the Perez Hilton crisis through a nursing lens, without sanitizing his past, but also without cheering for his downfall. Let's get into it. Hi, welcome back. On this channel, one of the things I do is to look at pop culture under a microscope. Not to gossip about them, but to understand the medical and psychological realities underneath the headlines. In my last videos, I used the nursing lens to look at Ariana Grande drawing firm boundaries against public shaming, and Rihanna navigating the immense physical and mental demands of high-stakes environment. Those videos showed us something: how public figures attempt to protect their health from the relentless pressure of the public eye. But today, we have to look at the opposite end of that spectrum. We are looking at a man who spent decades fueling that very pressure cooker, who has now, unfortunately, experienced a catastrophic physical and mental collapse in public. Blogger Perez Hilton. This week, he was placed under an involuntary psychiatric hold following a deeply disturbing crisis broadcast live online. As healthcare professionals, this forces us to confront a heavy truth that many people tend to overlook. This hospital gown here is the ultimate equalizer. It has no pocket for fame, clout, or a history of bad behavior. Under the clinical eye, everyone is equally fragile. To understand the medical weight of this situation, we have to look back in time to balance it. In the early 2000s, this blogger here sat on a digital throne. He was the king, making millions by weaponizing the vulnerabilities of young women.
When Heath Ledger died in 2008, Perez Hilton sold t-shirts that said, "Why couldn't it be Britney?" He called her a trailer trash ghetto princess and also called her an unfit mother when she was going through a mental health crisis. He also posted upskirt photos of Miley Cyrus when she was 17 years old. He was not a good person. He didn't give a fuck about anyone else's mental health.
Consider Khloe Kardashian. For years, she was subjected to a relentless onslaught of public body shaming from his blog, reduced to cruel, derogatory nicknames meant to humiliate her. From a psychiatric nursing standpoint, chronic, inescapable public humiliation acts as a continuous psychological stressor. It activates the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, flooding the body with cortisol. Over time, this can lead to a nursing diagnosis of what we call disturbed body image, severe anxiety, and deep-seated trauma. Khloe Kardashian openly called him out as her personal bully, yet her response over the years became a case study in resilience as she eventually chose to advocate for mental health and crisis intervention resources. We cannot sanitize this history. The damage inflicted on people's mental health during those blogging era was real, and accountability is very necessary. But then, human fragility has a way of catching up to everyone. In March 2026, this blogger experienced a severe life-threatening physical crisis.
I nearly died this year twice. I had severe sepsis and landed in the hospital for 21 days. And then I was back in the hospital a few weeks after that. And in Vegas, I loved it there, but my mom, who lives with me and my children, and we don't have any family there. And I think that huge health scare where it really felt like I was gonna die, I woke from that experience with such clarity, and it said, you need to be where you have support.
He was hospitalized for 3 weeks fighting sepsis caused by a perforated stomach ulcer. Let's break down what sepsis actually does through a nursing lens. Sepsis is a medical emergency where the body's response to an infection triggers systemic widespread inflammation. It causes a drastic drop in blood pressure, deprives your vital organs of oxygen, and pushes the patient to the absolute brink of mortality. Now, surviving an intensive care stay for sepsis doesn't just leave physical scars, it leaves massive psychological ones. Post-sepsis syndrome is a clinically recognized condition. The sheer trauma of your organs failing forces a collapse of your psychological defense mechanism. In his own words, after recovery, he expressed overwhelming guilt and shame regarding his past action. That means he knew what he was doing. The physical trauma cracked open his emotional armor, leaving his mind highly vulnerable to severe depression and PTSD. This brings us to the present situation right now, the acute psychiatric crisis that occurred this week on TikTok Live.
His entire body was covered in a substance that appeared to be blood, and it was said that he was holding a bread knife while seemingly harming himself on camera.
Law enforcement and medical personnel responded to his home following an active incident of online self-harm, transporting him to a local hospital under an involuntary psychiatric hold. How do we process that? We strike a balance. We do not sanitize his past. We do not pretend the bullying didn't happen. We don't demand that his past victims forgive him. But we also refuse to justify the idea that a mental health crisis is what someone deserves. Cheering for a human being experiencing a psychiatric breakdown on screen isn't justice. It's just a continuation of same mentality that degraded the culture in the first place. Cruelty cannot cure past cruelty. Now, let's come back to the hospital ward. In a hospital ward, the moral scorecard of a patient's life is entirely irrelevant to the care they receive. When a patient is admitted in crisis, a nurse does not ask what they did 20 years ago before checking their vitals or stopping an injury. Whether it is Ariana Grande taking a necessary step back to protect her peace, Rihanna navigating the heavy mental loads of her present life, or a broken former bully lying in a South Florida emergency room, the clinical reality remains identical. Yeah, this hospital gown here has no pocket. It strips away titles, fame, internet empires, and past sin. This tiny open back piece of fabric doesn't care about your follower count. It has no pocket for a blogger's power or a celebrity's wealth. Under the eye of a clinician, the bully and the bullied look exactly the same. Underneath this cloth, everyone bleeds the same red blood, breathes the same oxygen, and relies on the exact same human mercy to survive. No one is invincible. No one is immune to hitting rock bottom. If we want a healthier culture, we have to respect the dignity of people in crisis, not because of who they used to be, who they are, but because of who we choose to be as human beings. If we want to cultivate a healthier society, we have to protect the basic dignity of the broken, even when the broken person used to be the one breaking others. Thank you for watching. Let's continue to choose empathy over internet judgment. Stay safe, look out for one another, and I will see you in my next video. Ciao.